Hey y'all, welcome to the latest All Hands on Tech stream. I am your host, David Neal. I'm a Pluralsight Developer Advocate. I had to think for a minute. What's my title? I was searching for the caption button. So thank you for joining. We are in the process of building a trivia game that is real-time trivia questions using technologies like Node.js, Fastify, Tailwind, Socket.io for WebSocket communications for that real-time kind of back and forth between the clients and the server. See, what else are we using? We're using Vue.js as for the front-end framework for Vue components and so forth. We're getting close to wrapping up the initial design or the initial idea that we wanted to create, all the features and everything. So last time we were on the stream together, we were looking at using Tailwind to make the game look and function a little bit better, and that's what we're continuing to do today. We're going to try to finish styling the components that are in the game so that it will, be much nicer to play, much more visually interesting. So we're doing a bunch of Tailwind CSS classes and applying those to our components to make them look better. And, we're doing simple stuff, nothing too elaborate, nothing too crazy. Also may do some, one of the features we may want to add. I don't know if we'll get to it today, but maybe draw some fun characters to use as avatars in the game. You may have played online games where you've been able to choose not choose an avatar, but when you join the game, you get assigned this cute little character that is your avatar or icon while you play. And, I'd love for the game to have that kind of thing too. But that's in like the bonus features, nice to haves. We may do some of that later on. If this is your, love to hear from you. If you are wherever you're coming from, if you post in the comments where you're tuning in from, and I'd love to hear from you. If you're interested in the source code for the project, you can find that on my GitHub repository, github.com/reverentgeek/ahot-trivia-game. And with that, I'm going to switch over to my, if I remember which button is which, switch over to my screen, my desktop here, and open up the terminal. So I've got the trivia game terminal here. Again, if you're, trying to remember the names. It's going to show you the repository again, but I don't remember off the top of my head what the command is for that. Irrigators, no. Oh well. Maybe it's get remotes. Yeah, get remote origin. Dash. I thought it was dash V. Yep. Just got to get the order right. Origin. No. Get remote dash V. Okay. So, as I said, GitHub repository, Reverend Geek ahot-trivia-game. So you can go to basically that URL, github.com/reverendgeek/ahot-trivia-game. And this is a Node.js application. So we have in this folder things like a package.json and other node modules and other folders for the source code. And package.json has the dependencies and all that good stuff. So if you're getting the source code and wanting to set this up on your machine, you're going to, first of all, need to have a version of Node.js installed, either something like version 18 or version 20. I highly recommend that you install NVM, which is a Node version manager. I've got 3 versions of Node installed on my machine, 16, 18, and 20. The latest being 20, that is not yet, it's in the process of becoming long-term support. So, but it is stable. And I use things like NVM ls remote to see if I have the latest version of 20, and I do. I don't know if you maybe, I'll highlight that to make sure it's readable. So it's 20.2 is the version that I have installed. And when you clone or download the source code from the repository, you'll need to install the dependencies using npm install. And that'll go through and download everything. If you've already got an older version of the repository downloaded, you may need to use something like git pull to pull the latest changes and then run npm install again to make sure that you have any missing dependencies. Apparently I have a file that's changed since I last used the application. Let's see what that is. Oh, I removed the states from the clients because we're not using them. So I went ahead and did that. Just haven't committed it yet. So another thing I like to do every time is run npm outdated to see if there's any dependencies that have been updated since the last time we worked on the project. And there are some mostly minor patches, except for the font Montserrat from Font Source. It has gone from 4.5 to 5.0. Now, I can't imagine that would be a breaking change to anything. My guess is if it's updating a major release on a font, that maybe there's a new character set, or something more significant than just tweaks to the fonts. But I am curious what constitutes a major version change on a font. Maybe it's adding support for another language. So I'm just going to say npm update to install all the minor updates. And what we should find is that all the ones that should be non-breaking changes automatically get updated, except for font source, the Montserrat font. So if we run npm outdated again, sure enough, that is the only package that was not automatically updated by the npm update command. If you have any questions along the way, aloha from Paris. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for joining again, Hogswort Emo Dragon. Good to see you again. Thanks everyone for joining on the stream. If you're just jumping in, let me know where you're coming from. If you have any questions, you're interested in what I'm doing here. If you're late starting and wondering what in the world it is that we're doing, we're building together a trivia game that's real time using Node.js, Fastify, Vue, Tailwind, and Socket.io for socket communications. So, as I said, I don't think the font is going to be a breaking change. We could go to the change log on npm.org and see what exactly changed, but I don't think that's necessary. So I'm going to use npm install to reinstall the latest version. And what I'm going to do is type out the name of the dependency and then append at latest on the end of that. I could be explicit and say at 5 for version 5, but I usually just use latest. And now if I use npm outdated again, that list is now empty. And if we look at the package JSON, we see that it's been updated to explicitly say version 5 is now a dependency. Okay. Let's see where we got to last time. If I run npm run dev, this runs our dev script, which is defined here in the package JSON. It uses nodemon to build. It's going to run npm build and npm run start, and it's going to watch the source and public folders for any changes to the file, JavaScript, HTML, CSS files, so forth. And if any changes are detected, it automatically reruns the build script and restarts the web server. And that just saves time when we're iterating on ideas in development. So I'm going to use the command npm run dev. That's going to build Tailwind and create our CSS file for the game and launch the Fastify web server. And it's listening on port 8080. So I'm going to bring that over here, and there's here is the glorious trivia game as it exists today. I created this silly image on one of the previous streams using my iPad. Maybe we'll get to do some more fun graphics like that. I love to draw, so any excuse for me to do that is a fun day for me. So right now the game is configured for 2 players. We'll start a new game here. I'll put in my gamer tag, And this is what we finished on the last stream, is we created this box. You're in, thanks for joining, waiting for other players to join. We created this SVG, spinning SVG graphic. And these are all in the Vue.js components that are in that public folder in the source code. I'm going to launch another browser and start a game from here, and we'll just say player 2, and that starts the countdown. And the countdown is where the next component that we need to style. So we need to style the countdown. We need to style this page where the trivia questions and everything are located. We can go ahead and play the game. See we've got a hint built in right now so that we can test scoring. Correct choice is 3. This is 0 indexed, so 4 is the correct answer. So as I answer choices correctly, you can see that my score is going up by 100 each time. Maybe I'll answer some choices correctly over here. Answer something incorrectly, skip a question, which removes some points. And the game is over. And this is another component we need to style. Better luck next time. Your score 325. This player 2 won with a score of 400. Okay. So let's get over to the countdown. And so right now, let me make sure that I got my comments up. So if you have any questions along the way, we're going to dive into some Tailwind stuff here. And I've got some notes from when I've done some things similar to this, because I don't, I like Tailwind. I've used it quite a bit on several projects in the last couple of years, but I don't always remember off the top of my head the syntax. Some things I do, some things don't yet stick. But even though I don't know all the things off the top of my head, I am a fan of how Tailwind helps things to go. Helps you as a designer build out some nice looking interfaces. What I'm going to do is create a div tag around the text. Put this paragraph tag in here. And I know from this may not be, there's probably lots of ways to do this in Tailwind. This is one way that I've found, probably by looking it up on Stack Overflow at some point, that one way to center text on the screen, both vertically and horizontally, is to use flex call columns and just use all the centering options that are available. So there's just item center, there's justify center, there's text center. We're just making sure that all the centering is available, and then setting the height to h full. Height full means height 100%. This is going to take that div tag and make it the height of the screen so that the text will be centered vertically as well as horizontally. And inside the paragraph tag here, I think what we'll do, we don't really need margins if we're doing this. But I do want font bold. Uh, 5XL may not be big enough. Let's see. 6XL. I don't know how many XLs there are, but let's just keep 8XL. Let's see what that looks like. And this is the countdown component. It takes in the player name, the player ID, and the countdown, and just displays that. So there's the client component is like the main component. It loads up all the other components, and it's setting properties and state for each of those. So countdown, if this current state is countdown, then it's going to pass, set the properties, player name, ID, and the current countdown. The countdown is sent by the server as part of Socket.io. So it's pushing state to the clients to say, here's the current state, here's the current countdown value, and so forth. And one of the things I would like to do while we're testing this component in particular is to increase the countdown. Right now it's set to 3 seconds, and that doesn't give us a whole lot of time to look at the component before it goes away and the game starts. So on the server, which is in the source folder, gameserver.js, somewhere around here, we've got the countdown equal to 3. This is where pretty sure this is where we do it. We do it in these places. Do the countdown. Okay. So I think it'd be nice to have a default defined. So we'll say const countdown default. Normally would be 3, but let's change it to 10. And let's see where. That's the start game. The init game is when we set the countdown timer for the game itself. I'd like to go ahead and refactor that to game time default. Now, eventually, maybe as we make changes to the game, I'd like to have these kinds of things be configurable so that, right, instead of hard coding values like 3 and 60 in the game, give someone the ability to, through an admin console, tweak parameters like how many seconds are available, how many players are allowed to play. Let's see. So game time default. Let's the function init game. Let's use game time default instead. So every time we make a change to the application, this nodemon has been running in the background and has been detecting those file changes and restarting the server. So all we need to do is come back to the screen here, maybe refresh both of them to make sure that they've got, the latest stuff as well. So player 1 will be Reverend Geek. Player 2 will be Tom. Okay, get ready, Tom. And so mission accomplished. We got the text centered on the screen and the countdown, and now it's good to go. However, let me just type RS. RS is a nodemon command to restart the game. And let's also player 2 and so this up here we probably should style as well. So let's think about that. Let's see. We change this to a div. Leave the font bold. We'll do MX Auto, which will set the text center. Both of those would center the text on the screen. I'll do a break tag here to put game starting. Well, let's just remove game starting. Maybe set the Y margins or top to like MT8. All right. Start a new game. Player 2. Start a new game. While I'm thinking about it, it would be nice if when we come to this screen that the text box already has focus so that you can immediately start typing without having to click into the text box. That's a nice little user experience thing to do with whatever front-end framework that you're working with. Let's take a look at this first. So player, let's just say David. Oh, this didn't do anything. I need to refresh the client, it seems. This is weird. Let me try restarting the server again. Why is this? That's better. Start a new game. David, start a new game. Paul. Okay, so now it's centered on the screen. Get ready, David. And the countdown timer. So we could probably do more to make this more colorful on the countdown. Maybe add some fun animations or other types of graphics. Let's see. I've got someone on Twitch who is saying that they're not hearing anything. If you could post in the comments and let me know if you're able to hear me. I'm showing audio meters jumping on my dash. Okay, cool. So another comment came in. I can hear you now. It was me, not you. Sweet. Here's another thing that's kind of silly, but it says, you have a score of 0. It says you won. Technically, you did win because, you have the highest score, and the highest score for both players is 0. So maybe, it'd be good to detect if more than one player has the same score and declare a tie instead of a winner. So many rabbit trails, but we got the basic styling of this component done, and I do mean very basic, putting stuff on the center of the screen. But going back to that usability thing of joining the game, it would be nice that on this input that it is automatically selected when this component loads. Yeah, and comment that came in. Absolutely. Handling an exception on the score 0 that's actually different from real tie. Like if nobody actually answered any questions correctly, I guess you could say that everyone, no one won. It would be like maybe we need a sad trombone sound effects. Oh, that brings up another thing. Sound effects. That would be cool to have too in the game. No score yet. Yeah, that would be good. Okay, so I don't remember off the top of my head how to set the focus of a component. Let me create a new tab here. So say Vue.js 3, set focus on input. And see, there's certainly Stack Overflow. Yay for Stack Overflow. Will you create the sound effects? That would be fun. I love to create graphics and do illustrations. Creating sound effects would be fun too. So yeah, I think we'll put that on the list. Let's open up the README. It's a silly way to keep up with features. We should be using like GitHub issues or something like that on the project, but I've just been doing a list of tasks in the README. And so let's say version 2 tasks. Add sound effects. Add character avatar illustrations. Let's go ahead and put in this list tie scores, no score. Or not declare, but game finishes with no score. Game finishes with a tie. Okay. So back to, too many squirrels. We were going to do the join, update join. I want to set focus on my input inside function. They made it complicated. Sure. Maybe we'll use the mounted and use something like this. So refs, we should be able to put a name on this input, and we'll call it ref equals player name. And in the let's see, what's it mounted? Mounted lifecycle event. We will say this dot refs dot player name focus. Maybe that'll work. Let's see. So I'll refresh this page, start a new game, and no JavaScript errors, which is good. And I do believe, before I switched clicked over here on the console, that the input did have focus. Let me try that again. So refresh, click start new game, and without having to click into the input field, I can start typing. So, and I can press enter because we already did solve that thing where we can press enter and it'll do the default action of clicking the next button. Start new game, player 2, next, and now the countdown starts. So this text could be bigger. That's something we could make better for sure. Countdown. Text 4XL maybe. See what that looks like. Refresh. David, Reverend Geek. Get ready. Yeah, that looks much better. Oh yeah, another thing we should do someday is remove all the verbose console logs we have scattered throughout our code. I once worked at a company where, as a general practice, there was some lint rules in the JavaScript and Node.js side of things where if you use console.log, your Git commits were rejected automatically by the repository. It was kind of like the engineering team agreed that console logs was unnecessary. It was kind of like a code smell, and the better alternative would be to use an actual logging framework. And that's a great idea. We should probably consider adding that as a feature of the game engine. Add logging framework. Instead of using console.log everywhere. Okay, we got several things going over or done already. I'm going to go ahead and commit everything we've done so far. Updates dependencies, styles, countdown, and let's see. Change this back to 3 for the default countdown. Cancel that and do it from here. So I've gotten so used to doing a lot of things from the command line that I forget that Visual Studio has some really good tooling around working with Git repositories. since I stopped the server, I'm getting all these errors in the command in the console because Socket.io can't communicate with the server. So watch this. I'll relaunch the app, and the client automatically connects. All right, so command line stuff is cool, but I want to use the commit message feature that's built into Visual Studio Code to say this commit includes refactors, default, game, countdown, and game time. It dates dependencies, styled the countdown component, and focus automatic input focus on player name form. If I save that, I can also click this check mark to accept the commit message or just close the window. Either way, it's going to use that message, and then I can click sync, and this action will pull and push commits from and to origin main. Cool. So Visual Studio Code continues to impress me with all the features and stuff. There's just so much stuff that's in it that is pretty decent that I don't even know. There's all kinds of cool stuff. Hogswort Emo Dragon, are you slacking on me today? All right, so there's 10 minutes. So I normally keep these streams to about an hour, and we got 10 minutes left. We could maybe take a chunk away at updating the styling on the quiz, but I think I'll save that for the next stream. If you have any questions about any of the stuff that we've done today, you can post that in the comments. I'd love to have the opportunity to answer any questions you have. We've talked about several good things to work on in the future. If you have any ideas of things you think we should try to include in the upcoming streams as far as features or behaviors or styles or ways to make the game look better or be easier to work with, post those in the comments as well. I'd love to hear your feedback there. And if you're if you do come up with an idea later, if you happen to be thinking about me and thinking about this game, as you probably do throughout the week, you're just really looking forward to is it possible to build a planner as an app. Are you asking for me to build a planner into the game? Because the answer to that is no. But if you're asking if it's possible to build a planner using web technologies like Node and Fastify and Vue and Tailwind and all the things that we're doing here, is like, well, absolutely, you could do that. I don't think there would be any reason why you couldn't do that. I think I've even built some task management planner like apps in the past. Planner books that people can buy. Man, it's been a minute since I've used real planner books, but I certainly use quite a few of those back in the day. Yeah, you could absolutely build an app to do the same kind of functions as a daily planner. That'd be cool. So maybe that's an idea for a future stream. Like after we kind of tie a bow on creating this trivia game, we could create a daily planner app. That would actually be a fun challenge and would be a practical thing that people could use. I've tried to make my streams practical, learn some stuff along the way. Any other comments or questions? Any suggestions you have for what we can do on future streams? New features to add to this game, or app ideas for things we could build together that are web-based and probably Node.js related, because that's the thing that I love to use these days. I have done lots of Microsoft Stack apps. I've done C#.NET development, ASP.NET development, desktop applications, mobile applications. I've done a little bit with Go. Thought at one time it'd be fun to learn some Rust. There's a lot of things we could do. I'm curious what you think might be most interesting to you that we could learn together in the future. All right, folks, I really appreciate your time today. I'm going to close shop a little bit early, and I wish you a wonderful rest of your week. Thanks for joining. If you want the source code for this application that we're working on, you can get that on my GitHub repository, github.com/reverentgeek/ahot-trivia-game. You can find in the README how to set up the game locally and run that and play around with it. If you have any ideas of what you'd like to see or suggestions on what we could improve, you can post that online. I'm Reverent Geek on Twitter and other places. Or you could post GitHub issues on this repository that we could check down. That would be cool too. Thanks again for joining me today. One question that came in: if no rooms in socket games, how many players can join? If only 2, maybe it would be interesting to have a room of max players. That's something that we haven't talked about, was having hosting like multiple game rooms, so you could have like up to 4 players in each room, kind of thing. That's definitely something I'd like to work on in the future. So I'm adding that to the tasks right now. Game rooms with up to N players per room. Yep. And max players. That would definitely be an interesting thing too. So thanks for your comment, Alpha Lola. Thanks for participating with me today and for your feedback. That was really great. Yeah, and do tournaments too. That would be super cool. Let's see. Again, my name is David. I'm a developer advocate for Pluralsight. My job is to help you be more awesome. And if there's anything I can do to help you on your journey for learning technology and things about your software development career or career in general, please let me know. I'm Reverend Geek. ReverendGeek.com is my personal website. You can find me as Reverend Geek on a lot of platforms. I'd love to hear from you and help you if there's any way that I can. And with that, thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and see you on the next All Hands on Tech with your host, David Neal. Bye now.